Hi everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream live on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time in the United States. That's midday if you're in Australia, or 1 or 2 a.m. if you're in the UK or Europe. I hope you guys and girls are well. Hype, as Hellboy says. Remember guys, if you do miss the live streams, as always, you can catch up by clicking the videos tab on my Twitch channel or go to my YouTube channel /Phil Does 3D. If you're watching me on YouTube, in the description below this video, you will find a link to my Twitch channel. Or if you want to join the Phil Does 3D Discord server, you can click that link Hellforge popped into Twitch chat. Or again, if you go to the About Me section on my Twitch channel, you'll find a blue graphic in the panels below. Click that. That will give you an invite link to join the Discord at any time, whether you're watching me back on YouTube or you're watching me back at a later date on Twitch. We're going to continue working on a game called The House in the Hollow. That's available to wishlist now on Steam. Again, if you're on YouTube, look in the description for a link to the Steam store page. Or if you're on Twitch, again, go to the About Me section and click the graphic in my panels, or click the link Hellforge popped into chat just now. Also, if you want to know more about me and who I am and what I do, you can go to my website, which is phildoes3d with a .com on the end. I think that's everything. No, I keep forgetting about the ArtStation. I have to update that. If you want to look at my ArtStation, you can click that link Hellforge popped into Twitch chat. Or I believe if you go to my website, there's a link to my ArtStation right down the very bottom. All my social media links are down there. ArtStation, YouTube, Twitter, which is at Phil Does 3D. Android Lust, hey, I'm having a good day. Thank you, Hellforge, for asking. It's good to see you, Android Lust. Hope you're well. No, yeah, I should set that up, shouldn't I, Hellforge? Yeah, I know you tried. I'll do that. Actually, I keep forgetting. After the stream today, if I remember, I'll set up a command for the store, for my 3D model store. Some of my models are up to 50% off at the moment on my Creative Market store. So just mentioning that for the Good Friday, Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal thing that happens around the world. Some of my models are up to 50% off on the Creative Market. Of course, if you're a sub to my channel, you get 50% off on models from my shop on my website all the time, 24/7, 365 days a year. So, yeah, just bear that in mind. If you do sub to my channel, you can buy my models for 50% off. Regardless of what the model is, regardless of how many that you want to buy, everything is 50% off. But that's only for subs on my store, which is phildoes3d.com. Andrew Lust says, I was sick, but not so much today. I was wondering where you were yesterday. I know it's coming up to Thanksgiving for you guys in the United States, so I'm assuming you guys are busy organising all of that sort of stuff with friends and family. So that's why. But I'm sorry to hear you were sick. Yeah, I hope you're feeling better. You don't have the food poisoning like Sniper Girl, do you? I hope. Helpwood says, good to hear you're feeling better, Android Lust. Yeah, it is good to hear. I'm sorry you weren't well. It's never nice when you're sick. You don't, like I've said it before, but it's so true. You don't appreciate being well until you're sick. It makes you appreciate being well. Oh, that's nice and cold. It's really muggy here in Melbourne today. Like, it's not mega hot, but it's muggy, which isn't nice. I hate the muggy weather. That's the reason I love Queensland, because Queensland's very humid because it's closer to the equator. Melbourne's right down the bottom, so it's generally cooler and drier. Generally. Helpwood says, made a mention of it on the mod channel in Discord. So oh, good. Oh, thank you. Excellent. Thank you, Hellforge. I will set that up. That will remind me. Good stuff. Andrew Lust says, no food poisoning or COVID. Oh, good to hear. Hellforge says, it's been snowing here, which is nice. Oh, I'm so jealous. I am so jealous. I want to live where it snows. I want the cool weather. I hate summer. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Euro, yo, Euro. How are you, buddy? It's good to see you. I started playing with that program that you suggested. I'm pretty sure it was you, Euro, the Ivy generator one. And it is cool. I just wanted to use this to see how it would work, just to give people an option, as you suggested, that because I generally use a plugin in Max to do Ivy. But this will allow anyone with any 3D program to grow their Ivy. We were having some problems with it yesterday, though, growing correctly, so I'm not sure. I've used it before, and it has grown correctly, but it doesn't seem to want to grow correctly on our gates for some reason. Euro says, yeah, I linked it ages ago. Yep, I know you did, but generally, like I said, I use a plugin in Max to do growing of my Ivy, but I thought it would be a good idea to try it out on stream so that other people are more aware of it, just in case, because you never know. Some people might not be aware that you can download it completely free. It was made in 2007, so it is an old program, but it works, usually. It just didn't work for me. Just not on the gates we were working on for some reason. Helpwood says, apart from the whole travel restrictions thing, you could take a short vacation in Japan. They got snow there. We actually do. Well, that's true. If I wanted snow now, I would have to leave the country. But it does snow in Australia, and it snows in Victoria where I live. It's just that you've got to drive a couple of hours up into the mountains, which I've done before. So there is snow in Australia, but not during summer. That's for sure. And yes, travel restrictions are all being eased now in Australia, so they're allowing tourists in and students back in, and they're opening up all of the states within Australia so I can see my brother and my sister interstate, which is good. I don't know how I feel about them opening everything up so quickly, though. I mean, Australia is really highly vaccinated. We have, we're at, I think, at about 90% double vaccination for the country. So I guess there's that. I just don't, people still die, though, because there's some people that 10% of the population won't get vaccinated. And they protest in the streets of the city and stuff. And so those people could catch the human malware, and people still are dying. So it's not good. So, yeah, I'm a bit, while I like the fact that I can fly interstate to see my brother and my sister, I'm a bit hesitant. I can't say I like it because people still are dying. So, and I think the government's trying to open up a little bit too quickly. But I guess people are losing their jobs because everything's been locked down for so long. Because Melbourne, I think, had the distinction, Melbourne is where I live in Australia, had the distinction of the longest lockdown city. Because we just came out of like a 3-month lockdown about a month ago. So lockdowns are not nice. So I understand why people don't like them. But they're necessary. Sometimes you just got to do it to save people's lives. Helpwood says, if I go to Japan, think of all the reference pictures I could take. That is true, and I've never been to Japan, you know. I do love manga and anime, so I'm sure I'd enjoy Japan. Helpwood says, Phil was made back in 1653 and he still works. You get a Phil slap for that. Cheeky Helpwood. Euro says, sometimes in the past, instead of using the actual mesh to grow on, I've done it. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of doing. Done a simple mesh block out to grow it on. Maybe worth a try. Yep, we might try that today. If it's being an ass, yeah. I actually, funny, great minds think alike. So I was thinking that this morning. I thought to myself, maybe if we just block it and try and get it to grow, we'll see how we go. Because the mesh is actually quite intricate. That wrought iron, I think it's having a problem growing on that wrought iron. So. Hey, Smithberry, it's good to see you, buddy. I hope you're well. Andrew Loss says 90%. Is that? Yes, 90% of the Australian population are fully vaccinated. So 2 shots, 90%, 2 shots of the entire Australian population. So Australians have done well getting their shot. But we've still got that 10% that are nut jobs that don't believe that they should be vaccinated and protest in the streets and don't want lockdowns and all this sort of jazz. Smurf says, I thought you said mango and anime. Oh, I like mango. Mango is my favourite fruit. Of all the fruits in the world, mango is my favourite. Maybe that's because when I was a kid living in Queensland where I grew up, There's mango trees everywhere. Well, there were around where I used to live. Because there used to be like a retreat, a Catholic retreat near where my house was. And it was up on a hill overlooking the Brisbane River, and it was completely surrounded by mango trees. So there must have been like 50 mango trees on the property. And the priests didn't eat, I don't think, I never saw them, didn't eat mangoes. So all the kids used to go and hang out there and eat the mangoes from the mango trees because they were packed with fruit. So yeah, I was brought up on mangoes. It's my favourite fruit. Helpwood says it was worth it. The Philslife was worth it. Helpwood says, yeah, it really sounded like mango and anime. No, manga. M-A-N-G-A. They call it anime these days, but back in my day, it was called manga. Euro says, manga and anemio. Manga anemio. Euro says, I got my new network kit. It's so fast. Just need a NAS with a better network ports now. What was your network kit, Euro? I know you were talking about getting a NAS, but what do you mean by a network kit? Android Lust says, I need a new ISP. Oh no, you're having your potato internet problem again, Android Lust. I'm sorry. Helpwood says, manga is the comic book, anime is the TV show. Well, back in the day, all Japanese anime style was called manga. Like Akira, like you remember when Akira was released? That's a classic manga film. It was called manga. Maybe it was because it was based on the comic book. But now they just call it all anime. Oh, 10 gigabyte switch and Nix. Nice. You know, those things go really hot, like temperature hot. So don't be surprised if it gets hot because they do. Those 10 gigabit switches, NICs and cabling, they can get hot. It's like Wi-Fi actually. I don't know if you probably don't feel your router very often, but Wi-Fi gives off a lot of heat as well. But 10 gigabytes, that's sweet. You'll be able to zip your files around the place in no time. Euro says, in Cat 8 cable with double shielded 24 AW gauge cores. Nice. Cat 8 cabling, that would have been pretty exy. And 10 gigabit switches, they're pretty expensive as well. 10 gigabit NICs. I mean, they're coming down, but yeah. I think I've got a 5 gigabyte one in my main machine here. Not a 10 though. It's built into the motherboard. There are 2 built into the motherboard. Smurf says, I'm speed, Euro probably. Euro says it's not too bad actually, sitting on the desk by the window. Okay. Healthwood says, could be, it was all before my time. I didn't start paying attention to it till an ex introduced me to all that stuff back in 2011. Oh no, I've been a big manga, I'm going to call it the way it used to be called, manga fan since I was like 16. Always loved manga. Love Japanese anime. Love it. Yuri says 5 gigabyte video file from one PC to another took like 3 seconds. Wow. That's pretty cool. Zipping 5 gigabytes around in 3 seconds. Wow. Yuri says Cat 8 24 AWG is slightly more expensive, but it's double shielded and works at a higher frequency, 2000 megahertz. He says, I figured I'm splurging on 10 gigabit kits. Might as well get decent Cat 8 cables. Fair enough. Look, yeah. Cabling is something that you buy once and lasts forever. So if you buy once well, good quality and all that sort of jazz, well, then you're set. And you can have problems if you start to try and cheap out on your network cablings because some of them aren't built really well, even though they're a pretty simple cable. Still, you can have problems with cheaper cables. So it was a right move to take, I think. Helpwood says, speaking of zipping around, have some coffee. Okay, I will do that. I will have some coffee. I've got to make sure I grab it with both hands because I can't trust myself with copy, as you guys have seen. Euro says 24 AWG is Ethernet. It's pretty stiff cable. I'm sure it is. I really like those. I don't know if you can get it in Cat 8, but I know with Cat 6 you can get the thin ribbon cable now, and that's much easier to route. So it's not the round cable that you normally get with a Cat cable. It's a thin cable, so the wires are spaced one by the other. So it's thin, not bundled and round. But I don't know if Cat 8 comes like that. So because I have some of that flat ribbon cabling, I think they call it, around the flat here. I'm actually looking at it right beside me because it's going up my stairwell up into my bedroom because I have a Wi-Fi router up there and I wanted to plug it into my downstairs NBN modem. Yeah, I could have done it wirelessly, but I like the speeds of the Cat cable as opposed to wireless. Even I have Wi-Fi 6, and even that, which is theoretically supposed to get above 1 gigabyte a second, it's still not as fast as an actual cabled network, I find. Or maybe, yeah, not as reliable because Wi-Fi can get interference and stuff. So, I mean, Wi-Fi is great for like your phone and things because you don't want a cable hooked up to your modem to use your phone. But yeah, I much prefer a cabled network to a Wi-Fi network. I just find it's more reliable. Alford says, my old internet cable lasted for like 10 years before the plastic tooth thingy that holds it in place broke. Yeah, look, even if because the plastic tooth thingy you're talking about has like a little plastic bit that sticks up at the back, and that can often snap off, but as long as you don't move the cable, you can still use it. Generally it's still okay. That little plastic thingy always breaks off. The little hook at the back that locks it in place. Yura says, I looked at the ribbons. My Cat 7 ribbon was ribbon, but I couldn't find any spec sheets for the shielding. So I went with regular round cable. Yeah. Well, at least you know what you're getting with round cable. But I do like the ribbon cable. Yura says, Wi-Fi is only half duplex. That's true. Yeah, that's true, actually. I hadn't thought about that. Because cable is full duplex, of course, so... Yeah. So that explains why I like cabling more than Wi-Fi. That's why gaming over Wi-Fi sucks, Euro says. Yeah, that's right. Same as streaming. If you're a streamer, don't try and stream over a Wi-Fi network. It's not good. You want to have your stream machine hooked directly in via cable. Also the same if you're using NDI, which is what you guys see me using to send my screen here over to my stream machine. That's best really only cable. Don't try and do it over Wi-Fi. Alford says, I tried getting fibre internet, but my router really wasn't a fan of the oatmeal. Halforge. You're as bad at Snap. Smokeberry says, Wi-Fi is butts, Ethernet master race. I would agree 100%. But for things like phones and things, it's good. Because we don't want to plug a network cable into our phone and have it, dragging around behind us as we walk around our place. So Wi-Fi on mobile or tablets, good, but much better if you can if you're using notebooks and PCs and cable it up. Bit of sticky tape like I've done up my stairwell, and you're good to go. So I didn't feel like knocking holes in the wall and stuff to run cabling upstairs. Halfwood says, but some butts are great though. Yuri says, I was looking at 10 gigabit fiber, but it uses more power converting electrical signals to optical and back. Well, good, because we have to think of the environment. The more power, the worse for the environment, which is why I really don't like Bitcoin mining. I think it's terrible for the environment because the amount of power it chews up is astronomical. And you guys know how I feel about Bitcoin. It's a scam. Don't get involved in it. Don't do it, guys. Don't do it. I know some people will ignore me because they want to mine their Bitcoin. You're an environmental vandal. You're killing the planet, and it's a scam, and you're going to waste money in the end. So, mark my words. Listen to Uncle Phil. So yeah, all right. So we were going to continue working on this. We're actually optimizing it to make it game ready to bring into the Unreal Engine. But before we continue doing that, we may jump back to the gate and we may try seeing if we can grow some ivy by simplifying the mesh. So let's see. But if worst comes to worst, I'll just use my plugin in Max. I'll do grow the ivy that way. Probably not on stream because you guys have seen me use it before anyway. So let's go back to the gate. And let us have a look here. I'm just going to isolate these two pieces because this is what the ivy is having a problem growing on. And I think it's because the mesh is, I don't want to say complicated, but it has a lot of holes in it and stuff. So I think when the algorithm hits a spot, it's having a problem finding another spot to attach to grow up. That's why the ivy's sort of like growing out. So let's see what we can do. So I think let's just use boxes. So if we go with a box here, and we go with a box here. Actually, these probably are okay as they are, to be honest. But we'll do it anyway, just to be on the safe side. And we go with a box like here. And then we can go with like a box sort of through here. And we can go with a box through here. And I guess we can just do a box here as well. We'll just box it all. And I'm not going to grow the ivy up here anyway. I don't think it's only going to be I only want it to grow up to about just over midpoint. So let's just do boxes everywhere, shall we? Okay, let's just make sure all of our boxes are the same width. So we'll just copy the height value on all of them. All right. So let's just attach all these boxes together. And unhide everything. And these should be okay for the program. They're pretty simple geometry anyway, like they're pretty flat. A help word says, listen but don't question. Are you sure you don't work for the US government? Yuri says, so now I'm waiting on new ranges of NAS to come out. Might just build my own. They're due a refresh in 2022. Hey Juzan, it's good to see you. Didn't even say hi. I'm sorry, Juzan. Did you pop into chat and say hello? Look, I'm looking through my chat here and I don't see you, Juzan. It's good to see you though, Juzan. Sorry, it's taken me a little while to notice. I was caught up making my boxes here for the gate. Are you doing well? Andrew says, see, everybody's saying hello. So there you go. So let us select that. We might grab these bits as well, just in case we want to grow some stuff on that bit. And I think that should be all we need. So let's export this as an OBJ. We're going to call it Cargates test and export. Juzan says, I always do the signature. Oh, okay. Oh, you did too. You are correct. I'm sorry, Juzan. I missed that. I thought it was helpful for some reason I did that. I'm sorry, Juzan. You did. I'm wrong. Yuri says, I got distracted by mangoes. Android Love says, I don't see it, but my internet is pretty crap right now. Oh, no. Juzan says, no, I'm tired. I haven't had any drive to do work after finishing back-to-back projects. Yeah, I'm going through a bit of a funk at the moment. Like yesterday, I was saying to the guys that I wasn't really feeling it yesterday. I think it's the weather because it's a bit muggy and warm, and I don't like the warm weather. But yeah, I had those days too, and I had one yesterday. I'm a little bit better today, but I'm uncomfortable because I didn't sleep well. I never sleep really well when it's really warm, unfortunately. And if I don't get a good night's, but if I don't get my 4 hours, which is generally what I do, then I'm crabby and in a bad mood. Okay, let's see if we can grow some ivy, shall we? So yeah, let's put it, I guess, around about there. Euro says end of season burnout. That's a real thing. You are completely correct, Euro. Yeah, end of season burnout is real, and I am feeling it because we're leading up. Because I go on break, and we have a lot of projects that we've got to try and get done before the studio closes. Both studios close down, the games and the Archviz. So yeah, I've had a lot of work to do leading up to me taking a break. So I'm going to be gone mid-December to mid-January. So got to get all those ducks in a row before they'll let me take my leave. So yeah, I'm tired. The burnout is real. Yuri says also the clock's changing, ducks everyone up for a few weeks. Yeah, I know, it does. That daylight savings, it's evil, as Murph will tell you. It's an Illuminati plot. Yeah, Smurf says, how many ducks? Let's try growing our ivy here and see what it does. And it does not, still seems to be having an issue. Let's try it again. Let's see if we put it lower, whether it has a better job of it. You see what I mean? This is what was happening yesterday. It's slowly growing up. Let's try putting it here. See, now that's strange. Is that... Smurf says, I used to have about 8 ducks at any given time. One of them had an afro. Yuri says it actually gives us more daylight during waking hours, this far north, going back to normal time. It's the same here. We generally, with daylight savings starting, not finishing like it is for you guys in the US, it doesn't generally get dark until like 9 o'clock at night. I think we might be inverted, maybe. Although it doesn't look like it. We'll do a flip and we'll see what it... You see, now that's inverted. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's inverted because if we... Yeah, so it's going inside the mesh. Euro says it's the summer jump forward that's wrong. Euro says midsummer here doesn't get dark. Winter here we get 3.5 hours of sunlight a day near the shortest day. Wow. 3.5 hours, that's all the daylight you get? Man, that would be so strange. Because even in the middle of winter here, when daylight savings is finished, we still get a good day's worth of sun. Now, why is this behaving so strangely? This is what I can't work out. Because I've used the program before and it does generally work okay. But for this mesh, it seems to be having a real issue. And the other odd thing is it seems to be growing on the back when I put it on the front. And I'm not sure why it's doing that either. Sniper Girl, she comes in as I'm using this program again because she saw me messing around with it yesterday. Elford says sun sets here around 3 p.m. Man, I couldn't imagine the sun going down at 3 in the afternoon because even in the middle of winter here, the sun goes down at about 6. Yuri says, yep, sun is so low on the horizon, it's no sooner over the horizon before it's heading back below it. That'd be freaky. Sniper Girl says, wow, 3.5 hours, that's it? Hi to you as well, Sniper Girl, it's good to see you. Sniper Girl says, does that mean you looked at... Oh, look, I did. And I've used the program before, so it's not a tutorial problem, Sniper Girl. Come on. It seems to be an issue either with the mesh. It must be the mesh, because like I said, I've used the program before and I haven't had an issue. But for this mesh, it seems to be freaking out for some reason. And I can't work out why. We've even simplified the mesh for the gates to see if it'll grow a little better. And look, it is growing better, but number one, it's growing on the wrong side from where I placed the actual seed. So I don't understand why that's happening. Let's put it here and see what happens. See, it's on this side, but it'll grow on this side for some strange reason. See, it's growing, but it's growing on the opposite side. Why? Why is it doing that? Tell me. Could there be a problem with the export? Let's just jump into Max and have a look. Because there's not a problem with the mesh. We'll throw an edit normals down, we'll double check. Where's my edit? No, there it is. Yeah, no, look, the normals are correct. So that's not the issue. Smurf says, I'm disgruntled about the sun going down at 4:40. Another girl says to Smurf, the same for here. Helpwood says, everything is a tutorial problem if you're drunk enough. Smurfery says, is the mesh simply too thin? Shouldn't be. Shouldn't be too thin. You can see the thickness there. It's not... That should be thick enough for the program. Helpwood says, copy and save. Well, let's have a copy so I can, while I think about this. I have a feeling it's Well, I was going to say I have a feeling it's the export, the way Max is exporting the OBJ, but it shouldn't be. Let's just export this piece of geometry. We're just going to call it test. So we're triangles because the program needs triangles, as we found out. Let's vertex normal. Yeah, these presets are really not going to change much anyway. They just change things like the flipping of the axes and stuff. I can't see an issue with any of this. Let's just bring in just the gate on its own and see what it does. The simplified gate. Let's put it there. And let's grow it. That's better. I think it's having a problem with the with the rest of the mesh. Now it's behaving itself. I just have a feeling it might be a little bit small. The ivy leaves are a bit too small. So Snobby says that's bad, not bad looking. Yeah, we can't let it grow that high though. I don't want it up that high. But this was just a test. But we're going to change the size because it's a bit too small. So let's make it a bit bigger. So I can get the size correct, and then we'll regrow it. Still think it's a bit small. It might be a bit big. It's probably about okay, but the stems are way too thick. Still a bit too thick. Still a bit too thick. The other thing I like about the plugin that I use is in the plugin I can actually adjust exactly how many sides the stems have. This one you don't get that option. So I generally make the stems like 4-sided because you don't see them that close up when you're in game anyway. Anyway, just thought I'd point that out. The plugin actually does give you the option to actually adjust how high poly you want the actual branches to be. This is quite thick though, so let's maybe pull back on the leaf probability. Oh, wrong way. Because otherwise we're going to end up with a mesh that's hugely high poly, like way too many polygons. Let's regrow it because I don't want it to be growing that high. So let's try it about here. Let's pull back now, bring in a few more leaves, maybe a few more. We have to remember too, the ivy will move with the gate if we open and close the gate. So I can't really have the ivy growing from the ground because then it would, you'll see the stem moving and we don't want that. The other issue I'm thinking here is because we have a post sitting here. So let's fix that up, shall we? Let's jump back into Max. Let's simplify these because I think these are what's causing the program to have a bit of an issue. I don't know why, but it appears to be the case. So let's simplify that geometry as well. So we're just going to have a box here. And we're going to have a box here. And let's just duplicate both of these for the other side. That should be good. Well, I always do that. Okay, let's attach all of these boxes together. Re-export our mesh as test. Re-import our model. And yeah, I don't want the ivy growing in the post like that, so we'll regrow it now that we've so that gate opens that way. The ivy leaves are a bit too big. Still a bit too big, I think. Let's try bringing the ivy leaf size down here. We can adjust it from the growing size, but let's adjust it here. Now, I'm noticing an issue maybe here. Let me see if I can get it positioned correctly. It looks to me as if the ivy is actually growing through the mesh. So it's not being culled correctly. So it's working it out here by growing between the gap. And it just appears like it's like we could fix it. Look, on the actual mesh, it wouldn't be so much of a problem because the gate actually has holes through it anyway, so that would make sense. But because we're using boxes, the program really should not be growing through like that. But it may just be because that's, well, it's not thin, but it's not mega thick either. Let's grow another one over here. Let's grow it close. Oh, I keep forgetting with this program, it clears the last one if you add a new seed. Let's do that again. No, I don't want it growing up there like that. Let's try it again. We can't have this happening either, where it grows across the gate. Helpwood says seems like a pretty sweet program for it. Yeah, and again, this is completely free. And if you're using a 3D program that doesn't have a plugin that you can use, because Helpwood mentioned yesterday that Blender has a plugin built in to grow ivy, and there is this plugin that's available for Macs. But maybe you're using Cinema 4D or some other program that doesn't have a plugin. So in that case, this program is really good because it's free. So we all love free. Now this is going to be an issue because I have to attach the ivy to the gate, and then when the gate swings open, the ivy is going to move with it. So if the ivy is attached here like this, it's actually going to rotate into the gate, into the post, I mean. So there are a couple of options. I could manually remove these in Max on the mesh. That's one option. Let's just try regrowing it. Let's try getting it to grow just on the gate, but not go onto this gate and not go onto the pillar. I like a challenge. Let's see how we go. That I can remove by hand. Yeah, I'd have to remove these bits as well. Like, we wouldn't have this problem if the gates weren't open. If the player couldn't open the gate, then that wouldn't be an issue. And we made the player go around the fence line to look for a way to get in. Because we haven't settled completely on whether we will allow the player to open the gate. And if we don't allow them to open the gate, then we can have some really cool... Oh, we can do that anyway. Yeah, we can do that anyway. We can have some ivy growing up here, but we'll attach it from down here as a separate piece. Helpwood says, yeah, having the stems more than 3 or 4 sides seems like it's going to balloon the overall geo count super fast. Yeah, which is why generally in the plugin that I use, I really knock the I knock the number of sides of the stems right back. So you'll notice with this software, even though it does a pretty optimized job, I'm not quite sure how many sides it's using to actually create the stem, but I have a feeling it's probably more than 4. Again, I'm just making sure that our leaf size is correct. Yeah, I think it is. Well, we can export a couple of pieces and we can play around with them in Max and set the scene up. So let's do that. So let's export this one. We'll call this one IV1, and it's on the, I believe it's the left. Helpwood says maybe some coffee would help. I agree. Coffee helps everything. Helpwood says I'm free too, but I'm still not very good. Yuri says, just snip these stragglers off and max. Yeah, that's what I'll do. That's exactly what I'll do, Yuri. Okay, let's add one on the right now. I generally don't like putting something like this in the middle of a gate like that. It looks really unnatural, having it right in the middle. But if I move it too far here, it's going to grow on the post, and I don't want that. If I move it too far here, it's going to grow across the gap, and I don't really want that either. But we could do what Euro suggests and snip them off. So let's make a few pieces and let's see how we go. So let's add another one. Let's try it here. Yeah, no, that's going to be too difficult to snip to make it look natural. Let's try one. Let's try one here. Let's export that one. So IV2 left. Let's grow another one. Let's start it around about here. Let's export that as IV3 left. Let's work on this side of the gate now. Let's add one here. This we could just snip off in max as Euro suggested. So let's export this as IV1 right. Let's put one here. I'm not in love with the look of that. Let's do that again. That's better. Export this as IV2 right. We did 3 on this side, so I guess we should do 3 on this side as well. One there. We did 1 there. Let's do 1 down here. Let's just redo that. That's better. IV3 right. Okay, let's do some for the posts now, I think. So we'll add it maybe there. So we're going to call this IV post right. And I guess we'll add one over here as well. Let's add it maybe here. No, I don't want it that low. I need it not to grow on the ground. And we'll call it IV post left. Thank you, Hellforge. If you want to wishlist the game you see me working on these assets for, which is called The House in the Hollow, click that link Hellforge popped into Twitch chat. That'll take you to the Steam store page where you can wishlist it. So Steam will tell you when the game is released. Okay, let's jump back into Max and let's import these pieces of these ivy. We can get rid of the mock-up here. We don't need that now. Sniper Girl says, thinking by now we've all wishlisted. Yeah, I know, but it's for people that are watching me back on YouTube at a later date who maybe have not wishlisted Sniper Girl. I've got to do my spiel. Don't deny me my spiel. That call to action, as they call it. That's why on every YouTube video you see, they always say, smash that like button if you like the video. Remember to subscribe to the channel. It's supposed to be good. If you want people to do something, that call to action is supposed to make them do it. It doesn't make me do it. I mean, they can say smash that like button and subscribe to the channel as many times as they want. But if I don't want to, I won't. And if I do want to, I'll do it regardless of them saying that to me. But anyway. Sniper Girl says, do they even see links we post in chat? No, they don't. But there's a link in my YouTube videos in the description to the Steam store page for the game and also for my Twitch page. So they see that. So if they want to wishlist it, all they have to do is look in the description below the video that they're watching and you'll see a link there to take you to the Steam store page where you can wishlist the game. And it's actually really important from a marketing point of view to get as many people to wishlist the game as possible on Steam because it does a couple of things. It helps get the game more, what's the word I'm looking for? It helps the Steam algorithm promote the game a little more. The more likes a game has, the more Steam will automatically promote it, put it up higher in the list of games that are coming out. So there's that. And the other thing is there's only a very small percentage of people who wishlist the game who actually go on then to purchase the game. So the more people we can get wishlist the game before the game is released, then the more potential sales there are because there's only a very small percentage of people that do wishlist that will actually purchase. It's like a 10% conversion rate. So basically 10% of the people, 10 to 30, it varies by game. But between 10 and 30% of the people who wishlist your game will actually buy your game. Most people won't. So, whether the reasons for that, I have no idea. But Sniper Girl says, now you're learning. Say, look at the description for links to wishlist and also to Discord. There you go. Look on my Twitch channel on the About Me section if you want to wishlist it. If you're watching on YouTube, look in the description below my video for the link to wishlist it. And if you want to go to my Twitter at BillDoes3D, the very first tweet is a link to wishlist it on Steam. Let's import this ivy, shall we? So Ivy 1 left. It's having a problem with the path to the leaf model, so I better add a path. I can't remember where I put it. Oh man. Let me find where I put this program. x86 folder, okay. Because the program doesn't actually come with an installer, I don't think. I think you just unzip it and run it, which is cool. I like software like that. But it does mean we need to give it the path. And let's make sure that we have opacity turned on. It just didn't bring the opacity in. It's bringing it in as a physical material. I don't like that, and I don't want that. I'm going to swap it out for a diffuse, for a regular material. My apologies for that beeping you hear in the background, guys. I think it's somebody's smoke alarm in one of the flats around here. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Sounds familiar. Hopefully someone's not burning their apartment down, burning their flat down. No, it's stopped now, so it should be good. We had a terrible news story just yesterday in Melbourne here. There was a house fire and 3 young children died. Like, we're talking under 10 sort of thing. They still don't know what caused the house fire yet, but yeah, it's never good. Smurf says visibility. Sniper Girl says, Phil, you're welcome. Let's bring in a bitmap because we want to bring in the alpha. And I can't quite remember where the alpha map is stored. IV generator. Maybe the alpha might be built into the actual texture map, I think. Is it? Let me have a look. Let me check this. Again, I don't use generally I don't use this program, so I'm not sure how they set up their textures for the ivy. What are we talking about? Andrew Loss says the place is going up in smoke and Phil is just doing 3D. That's right, I'm so focused on what I'm doing and the house is burning around me. It wasn't my smoke alarm. If that was my smoke alarm, guys, you would know it. These things are loud as anything. And I've got one right above my head here. So there's one downstairs here and there's 2 upstairs. So yeah, and they're mega, mega loud. So if that would have been my smoke alarm going off, you would have known it. Let's bring in the other texture map. Sniper Girl says, have you guys seen Arcane on Netflix? It's based on LOL characters, even if you know nothing about League of Legends. Yeah, it's an amazing short series. I have actually. I watched the first 3 episodes. I believe a new one dropped on the 20th, which I haven't seen yet. But yep, I've seen like the first 3 episodes. It's really good. It's really nicely animated. It's really nicely styled and designed. It's an interesting story. Yep, it's a good show. I recommend it. So if you do have Netflix, check it out. I meant to mention it, but I thought I'd leave it till our Let's Chat stream and we could talk about it then. But it's really good. I recommend you watch it. A Smurf says, I've heard it's good. It is. Sniper Girl says, can't wait until season 2 comes out. They haven't even finished season 1 yet. They're rolling out new episodes weekly, I think. They dropped the first 3. And then there was a new one coming out on the 20th. A new episode. Unless they released the last 3 all at once, which they could have done. I haven't looked. Andrew Loss says, I've seen it, loved it. The animation is great. Yep. Sniper Girl says, agree with you there. I know nothing about it. League of Legends, and I loved it. Yeah, I know nothing about League of Legends, and I loved it too. Andrew Loss says, it's good. It's a good thing you don't know about that. Sniper Girl says, if I knew about the characters, would I hate the series? Andrew Dust says, no, the game's lore is fine. The players, that's the problem. Sniper Girl says, up to, I think, episode 8 is out. Whatever the last episode number was. Okay, I've only seen the first 3. So I'm looking forward to watching the rest of them because it's a really good story and really, really nicely designed and animated and styled. It's an interesting design style. It's sort of like, it's a steampunky type design style, which I really like. You know, steampunk mixed with magic. That's how you can't go wrong. Sniper Girl says, yeah, they have season 1 fully out. Oh, okay. Andrew Lust says 9 are out, or at least in the US. I don't know if Australia's Netflix is different with the release. It might be. We don't get everything you guys in the US get. They sort of curate it a bit more here in Australia for some reason. Sniper Girl says season 1 is short, but very well done. Yep, I'm looking forward to watching a few more episodes when I get a bit of time. I am looking forward to it. Because, yeah, I do like it. It's a good show. Okay, now we have our alpha fixed. Now, the reason it's so small is because I forgot when I did my exports, I was exporting at 0.2% of the size of the gate when I exported it out. So that means we have to increase the size of the Ivy by... So if it was 0.5, it would be 50. 0.25, it would be 25. My brain, I'm having a brain meltdown. 0.2. So we have to increase it by, I think it's 800% maybe in max. Let's see. No, 800 is incorrect. So it would be, how big would it be? If I reduced it by, if I exported at 0.2%, that's an 80% reduction. 80 is not correct. 180? No, that's not correct either. It should be 800. I would have thought Max's works on this 100, 200 percentage thing. I could do it by hand. I mean, it's no big deal, but I could just estimate it, guesstimate it. Andrew Doss says, I played that game before I got into 3D. The game was the sole reason I built my first PC, but I'll probably never play it again. I've never played it. Coffee, Hellforge says, yeah, let me have some coffee. That'll help. Yeah, if it was 0.5, it would be, I'd have to increase it by 200%. So 0.25 would be 400%. So around 400 or 500%. Let's try 450. Yeah, I think that's about right. So 450%. The alpha on this looks a little off to me. Let me just check the material. Image alpha. Image alpha. Filtering. No, not filtering. Sniper Girl says the scale function allows you to keep scaling up until it looks right without math. No, I worked the math out at a guesstimate. $8 jillion, Smurfberry says. Helpwood says, played what, League of Legends? Android Dust says, yep, I've never played League of Legends either. Helpwood says it's pretty fun with the right people. Android Dust says it was, but I don't think someone could pay me to play it again. Jizan says Stranger Things new season should be coming out soon. Yes, I'm looking forward to that as well because I like Stranger Things. It's a bit more of a kiddie show, younger kiddie show. Well, not really, but you know, the cast of characters are generally younger kids. But it's a really, really interesting story as well. So yep, I'm looking forward to the new season of Stranger Things as well. There's so much new stuff I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the new season of The Expanse, the new season of The Witcher, the new season of Lost in Space, the new season of, my phone's going off, my apologies, the new season of what we're talking about, Stranger Things. There's quite a few good things coming out. And Sniper Girl says, Lust give you $1. Android Lust give you $1. Hellford says, new season of Witcher and The Expanse are out soon too. Yes! Android Lust says, Tajuzan. I'll end up watching that too. Hellford says, not seen Wheel of Time yet. I actually started watching that on Amazon Video. It's not too bad. It's a bit slow. Episode 1 is a bit slow to get into. But after that, it starts to pick the pace up a bit. It does look interesting. It's one to keep an eye on. You know, there's one thing, if you do watch Wheel of Time, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get access to Amazon Video for free, obviously. And Wheel of Time is on Amazon Video. If you do end up watching it, tell me what you think of the matte painting of the backgrounds. It just, something doesn't seem quite right to me. All the episodes I watched, if you pay attention to the mountainscapes that they have in the background, which are all matte painted in, they're not real, they just don't look right. And I have a feeling it's because they're not adding depth of field, which is bizarre to me, why they wouldn't do that. Yeah, the background matte painting just doesn't look right. Doesn't look quite right. But the other effects in it are nicely done. Alfwood says, I love the books, the Wheel of Time books. Android Lust says, I wouldn't re-download League for $1. Sniper Girl says to Hellforge, can't wait for that. Hoping it's in order this time. I ended up seeing a recut of the original that put the events in order. We're talking about Wheel of Time. Sniper Girl says, what the hell were they thinking with season 1? Hellforge says, new season of My Phone is going off. Never seen that show. It'll be work. They always call me when I'm streaming. You guys know that. I don't know why. Every time I start streaming, work will call. I'm not sure if it's the Archbiz studio or the game studio, but whoever it is, they can wait. You have my undivided attention. Jizan says they need to make one payment for all streaming. Yeah, tell me about it. All streaming services. Helpwood says I'll keep an eye on that. Sniper Girl says no. Was talking about The Witcher. Oh, okay. Yeah, The Witcher. If you hadn't played the games, The Witcher might have been a bit difficult for you to follow. Season 1 anyway. But I think they made a point of saying that they're going to try and not jump around in time quite so much as season 1, which is what made it confusing. Now there is a way for me to fix this, and I can't remember how to do it. Oh man, where is it? Where is that setting that I want? There is a setting here. Do you know, for the life of me, I cannot remember where it is. Was it the ambient? Might have been the ambient. Or maybe not. Let's reset that. No, it wasn't this one either. Where is it? Helpwood says, yeah, the time jumps was a bit odd. We're talking about The Witcher. Juzan says, I didn't get The Witcher at all, but the animated movie is super cool. Yeah, there's the animated movie on Netflix as well, which is really good. But no, The Witcher series, it's good. But it helps if you've probably played the games, and I love The Witcher games. They're my favourite game. Helpwood says to Android Lust, would you play League of Legends for $3.50? Android Lust says, damn it, Loch Ness Monster, $3.50. Juzan says, people who think League of Legends players are toxic never played Rainbow Six Siege. Hey, Sniper Echo, buddy. It's good to see you. I hope you're well, Sniper. Helpwood says, hey, mate, hope you're doing well. Sniper Echo says to Helpwood, doing good. It's good to see you, Sniper Echo. Oh, look, I don't know really why I'm worrying about this quite so much, because it's really only in the max viewport, but there is an option here. I've used it before, and you think I can find it? I can't find it for the life of me. Actually, inverted is the way it should look in max. I generally, when I do an alpha map, I don't usually include it in the texture map. I include it as a separate alpha. That's the way I normally do it. Helpwood says, I played a bit of Siege and wasted like 3 years of my life playing League of Legends. Still to this day, Overwatch is the only game that has such a toxic shitfest of a community to the point where it triggered my anxiety. Well, I've not played any of them because I'm not really a big multiplayer person, online multiplayer sort of gaming person, as you guys know. I like my single-player, story-driven games. Helpwood says, team-based first-person shooter games in general is pretty miserable with randoms, but the amount of brain-dead toxic bullshit in Overwatch was unreal. Andrew Dust says, Overwatch wasn't too bad, but I didn't play ranked. But I know it was toxic. League was toxic in ranked and non-ranked. Helpwood says to Sniper, okay, yeah, I'm doing all right. Just tired as hell, aren't we all? Pardon me. Helpwood hasn't done much sleeping lately. Well, that's not good, Helpwood. You should sleep. Debabo says, what's the difference between displacement map and normal map? What is the difference between displacement and normal? Displacement map modifies geometry. A normal map fakes geometry. So you get your normal map from your high-res model, like the bake from a high-res model. So it's faking detail. Whereas a displacement map usually, at least if you're using max, modifies geometry. So it actually modifies the actual geometry, whereas a normal map doesn't. It fakes the geometry. It fakes the detail, whereas displacement adds the detail. Juzan says displacement can't give it height in some engines. Kind of like tessellation. Yeah, it's like tessellation. It adds detail to a mesh. In Max it adds detail because Max will then tessellate the model based on the displacement map. If you're talking a game engine, I don't generally use displacement much in a game engine. Or did I use it for the parallax mapping? I think I might have used it for the parallax mapping in Unreal. You know how we made the ceiling panels? I think they're done using, I know they're parallax mapped. I think we used displacement map on that. So yeah, it fakes the depth of the geometry, whereas a normal map doesn't do that. A normal map fakes the detail on a mesh. Debabo says, what do you mean by giving it height? Smurf says they both fake detail that doesn't exist in the physical mesh. A normal map fakes it just with light and shadow. A displacement map is usually coupled with some sort of subdivision on the model that actually moves geometry. Said it better than I did. Smurf says, so a normal map won't change the silhouette of the mesh, but a displacement map with subdivision will. That's exactly right. Sniper Girl says, section on the left is a normal map. She's got a link there. It simulates the detail. Section on the left is a displacement map. You can tell the difference because the displacement map is pushed out depending on the map itself. Thank you, Sniper Girl and Smurfberry. Remember, if you do want to join the Phildoes 3D Discord server, click that link Hellforge popped into Twitch chat, become a Phildo. There's a tutorials and tips section on the Discord server, which is full of really useful and interesting tutorials and tips that the members of the Discord have come across and posted links to over the years that I've been streaming. And it's a good place if you do get stuck doing 3D or your artwork, that you can post a question and either I or one of the mods will help out if we can. So I do suggest if you're learning 3D or you want some help at some stage, join the Discord server. You don't have to, but yep. There's a gallery as well where you can show up your work, because I like seeing what you guys make. That's the main reason I'm on Twitch, is to look at the stuff you guys make. Debabo says, so if displacement map changes the geometry, in what situation do we want to use a displacement map? Yeah, as Jizan says, if you join the server, he can show you a good example and use a lot in UE4 with character stuff. Yeah, but as Sniper Girl says, yes, in most cases, usually requires more geometry for it to work in engines. So I use displacement in the game engine in the game that I'm making with the game studio called The House on the Hollow. On the paneling that goes on the ceiling, so the ceiling plaster, that uses displacement map and parallax mapping. So it uses a displacement map, but it's baked with parallax mapping. I'm not using the displacement map to alter the geometry. I'm baking it with a parallax map. But that still uses a displacement map. You can think of a displacement map is really just like a grayscale map anyway. Thank you. And if you do want to wishlist a game, you see me working on the assets for here, you can click that link Hellforge popped into Twitch chat, which will take you to the Steam store page. I really don't need to mess with it. It just annoys me that I'm getting this white outline, and I know I can fix it because I've done it before. But I can't for the life of me remember how. How did I fix that? There's another issue going on here where the mesh is see-through. And again, I can't remember how I fixed that either. It was to do with the material, I know that. Oh, what was it? There was something to do with the opacity as well. No, it wasn't a fallout. Mono alpha, RGB channel output. Alpha is grey. The same with this one, we want alpha as grey. Smurf says, I almost never use displacement. Me either. Game engines are moving away from using displacement. I don't even use displacement generally in Macs, which is where it's really useful. It can be really useful. But yeah, I don't tend to use displacement at all. Much, really. Sniper Girl says, I mostly use displacement maps with landscapes. Yeah, landscape is probably one of the few good places to use displacement now. Smurf says, yeah, it's useful for like small rocks and mud, footprints in terrain. Euro says, add a background to the leaf texture in the same shade of green. This is just for Max's viewport anyway. I'm really being pedantic. I really don't need to mess around with this. This is just because we're going to create a shader in Unreal anyway when we bring it in. So it annoys me when I see that white outline. And I know I have fixed it, and I can't for the life of me remember how. I wish I could remember how. There is an option, and I can't remember what it is. No, it's gone. It wasn't that long ago I fixed the problem with some other mesh. But I can't remember. Anyway, we'll just keep going because otherwise we need to bring these in and check it out. Now this is going across the gate here, but that's okay. We can, so long as we keep it to this one, it can go across. As long as as long as it's not growing on this half, we're good. That's what I'm trying to say. Man, I wish I could fix that. It's annoying me. How did I fix it? Come on, Philip. Use your brain. What did you do? I have a feeling it was to do with the colour. Smurfs says add a background to the leaf texture in the same shade of green. You're talking about these. Yeah, well, again, that's probably, we can look at that when we bring it into the Unreal Engine. The Unreal Engine doesn't have this problem. This is something specific to Macs, and I've come across it before. But I can't remember how I fixed it. And it's the Max viewport problem thingy. Was it the viewport? Is that how I fixed it? Shadows, ambient occlusion. We don't want bloom. Let's turn up our anti-aliasing quality anyway. We're going to up that to 4096 too. But that wasn't it. No, that wasn't it either. Anyway, let's keep going. So that was IV1. Let's bring in the next one. So that was IV1, IV2. Let's assign the same material and scale it up 450%. Let's keep going. IV3. Assign the same material and scale it 450%. We're not going to use all these probably. I'm just bringing them all in to see which ones we like the best. Okay, so then we're going to go IV1 right. Assign the same material. Scale it up 450%. Let's bring the next one in. IV2. And IV3. Oh, good. Debabo, you're in the Discord. Good to see. And thanks, Juzan. He's posted examples with displacement and without. I know it can get, if you do 3D, it can become confusing sometimes because there's so many different ways to get something done. And like I said, displacement mapping can be used in a couple of different ways. And so, yeah, if you're ever stuck regarding 3D or, mainly 3D, but any sort of artwork, the Discord is a really good place to go and ask questions. Phil does 3D Discord. Because they're all very knowledgeable in my Discord, all the guys and girls. And particularly the moderators of the channel here. They're all they all know their stuff. Wondering why my shadows is not working. There we go. Looks a bit better with shadows and ambient occlusion turned on. We may use them all if I can bring the poly count down enough that we can bring it into the game engine without it being too outrageous. We may end up using all of the different Ivy. I really wish I could fix that problem. I wish I could remember how I fixed that problem. More to the point. Smurf says, yeah, it's useful for like, Yura says that background. Yeah, exporting with white background is but Smurfer says, he's talking about this. You guys are talking about this. Now, this is not mine. This came with the program. As Euro, you should know Euro. This is one of the default textures that comes with the program. I'm just going to check that in Photoshop. Hang on. I meant to reach for my coffee and it's on the other side. I'm just going to open up this material in Photoshop. I'm creating more emotes, by the way. I haven't designed them yet, but I have another 4 slots open on Twitch for subscriber emotes, so I'm going to create another 4. I'll let you guys know when I do. So you subs will have another 4 emotes, and this is on the I'm pretty sure on the base sub, so you don't not like the tier 3 sub or the tier 2 sub, the tier 1 sub, the cheapest sub at the moment has 1 emote, and I'm adding another 4, so there'll be 5 emotes all up once I finish designing them. But I'll let you know when they're ready. Ivy generator, textures. Let's open these up. Now they are transparent backgrounds, so it's an issue with Max. And okay, it looks like they don't actually have an alpha map. So that's interesting. That is interesting. I assumed that these had an alpha map, but they don't. Let's jump back into Max. Yeah. It's interesting. I wonder why. Let's do this. Let's add a levels to this. We want to go the other way. Let me add a new layer as well. I just want to add a black background. Max would probably do it, add it automatically anyway, but it can't hurt for us to do it. And on an alpha like this, I always like to add a bit of blur just to soften up the edge a little bit. Make sure you're on the right layer. Not that much blur. So if you're creating an alpha and you find that the edges are a little bit rough, adding a tiny bit of blur can help. We're going to save as copy PNG. We're going to call it EU0, which is not my naming, it's the guy whoever made the program, underscore alpha. Just want to do a test here. Oh, it's because I'm trying to save in my program files folder. Freaks out Windows. Let's try saving it there. We'll save it to the desktop. That should keep it happy. So let's reload that. RGB. Yeah, let's do this again. Let's delete that. Is that the wrong one? That is it's the wrong one. Oh, let's try this again. That's the right one. So let's do the same with the other leaf. So levels to white, a black background, and some Gaussian blur. To the desktop as an alpha. So that's that one, and that will be this one. I really wish I could remember how I got rid of that, but anyway. Let's bring in the final ivy, which is for the posts. So ivy post 1. Scale it up to 450. Let's just position it correctly. And bring in the next one. Smurf says open the other file where it's fixed. I can't remember what it was, what it was that I was working on that fixed it though, Smurf. To even open up the file, that would have been a good suggestion, but I can't remember, what the file was that I was working on. Snipey Girl says, Smurf, expect him to remember that far back. I know, she knows me too well. Halford says, I certainly don't feel like I know anything. Could just be the imposter syndrome kicking in with a force. Snipey Girl says to Halford, we all deal with that. Whoops. Android Lost says, right there with you, Hellforge. Hellforge says, it's such a weird thing. Some days I can fix issues without breaking a sweat, that I'd have a minor mental breakdown over a couple of years ago. And some days I can't even figure out how to do something super simple that beginner would do. Hey, look, I'm the same. I'm the same. As you can see. Android Lost says, I call those brain farts. It happens, but when it does and it stun locks you for a while, it makes you question your skill, I'm assuming, harshly. Helpwood says, yeah, Android Lost has happened to me recently. There is a way. I have fixed it. I've come across this problem before. I have a feeling it was to do with a viewport. I really, 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 really do. It's one of these options in Macs. Nothing to do. I thought it was the material, but I actually think it's the viewport. Something in the viewport. Somewhere in the viewport. Yeah, so we definitely want transparency on. I'm sure it was in the viewport here somewhere. I came across the option. I'm not going to be able to find it, which is really annoying. If I remember by the time I stream next time, I'll tell you guys how I fixed it. I don't think our gates need any more ivy, though. I think that's probably quite enough ivy going on here. This one I'm concerned with. We may have to just knock a couple of the ends off of this one here, because I don't want it going across into this gate. Yeah, I think that's best. So let's go into isolation mode, and we're going to remove these bits. So our ivy does not quite go all the way across both gates. That little bit there will be fine. That's fine. That little bit will be fine. And on this one, that little bit will be fine. That little bit will be fine over here. Both of those two little bits will be fine. These are okay. We'll just check it from the back. So I think we should be good. So let's do a save as a revision. So revision 4. Because I hadn't saved in a while. You don't want to tempt fate. "20 new messages in the server." Oh, it's Jazan and Debabo. What is that emote exactly again? Panic basket. Thank you, Hellforge. If you want to join the Phil Does 3D Discord, click that link Hellforge has just popped into Twitch chat. Or if you're watching me on YouTube, go to my Twitch channel and you'll find a link to join the Discord there under the About Me section. The only other thing I was thinking is we may grow some ivy just on different parts of the raw tine that's on the fence line. So basically we'll grow some ivy that we can on a round bit and on a straight bit. And then in the engine, when we start setting the scene up, we can have some of them that don't have ivy, and then we can reuse the same ivy on a couple of round bits and a couple of straight bits. The player won't notice that the ivy is the same as they go around the outside of the bit, so long as we're careful. So long as we're careful. The helper says it's a picnic basket that's on fire. It looks like, as Sniper Girl said, it looks like a dumpster fire. Android Lost says, live on the wild side, don't save. Yeah, no, we want to save. We don't want to lose the work we've done. It's almost time for me to finish up for the day, but I'm just going to see if I can't work out how I fix this problem. Because I know I fixed this problem. I just can't remember how I fixed this problem. I thought it was setting here, but that doesn't seem to be. Yeah, it's not that. I really, really wish I could remember. No, it's not important, but it just bugs me when I know I fixed it and I can't remember how I fixed it. Yeah. Helpwood says, Maya has been so extremely temperamental lately, I'm saving at least once a minute. Sniper Girl says to Hellforge, that's Maya for you. Hellforge says 9 crashes in less than 2 days of working with it. Man, Max is pretty stable these days. Blender was this bad as well back when I was working with the experimental build. That's pretty bad, 9 crashes in 2 days with Maya. Yeah, Max is generally pretty good now. It used to be crash bound constantly, but the last few versions of Max have been pretty stable. Touch wood. It'll crash now, watch. Yeah, I wish I could remember the setting. I really, really, really wish I could. But I can't. It's gone. It's my old brain, as Sniper Girl would say. I'm going demented. I can't remember what the setting was. There is a setting. I've used it before. I fixed this problem. I just cannot remember what it was. Anyway, so I think we might leave it there, and next week when we come back, we will just grow a couple more pieces of ivy here on a couple of sections of fence, and then we're going to move to the to the Art Nouveau entryway, and we're going to start working on that. So we'll finish optimizing the mesh, and then we'll design the walkway between the two entryways. But that will be something for next week. I do want to thank you guys, though, very much for hanging out with me and for watching. I really do appreciate it. Smurf says, congratulations, everyone. We did it. We went an entire stream without music. Ah, you didn't tell me. I forgot to unpause my music. Wow. Well, there you go. You just got to listen to my droning voice on and on for 2 hours. You're quite welcome. I will be back on Monday next week, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We'll pick up where we left off here, finish the gate, then start the Nouveau entry. You guys have a great weekend, though. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. And I will see you all hopefully on Monday next week. Hang on, Helper says I prefer it without the music, but that's just me. Well, if you guys want me to turn the music is good for when people don't talk, like when the streamer doesn't talk, but I always talk, so I guess it doesn't make much difference, really. Smurfberry said I decided not to say anything, just to see if Phil would notice. I did not notice. That shows you how observant I am. I'll fix that on Monday next week. I'll make sure the music's playing. Yeah, you guys have a great weekend, though, and I'll see you on Monday next week. See you guys.